Phoebe Bridgers is fucking amazing. Sorry not sorry for the curse word, but her very own website includes that word. Maybe you already know she's amazing. Maybe you've never heard of her. I'm not too sure where this video will go, but I knew I needed to make something to show my appreciation of her and shine a light on her music. Not that she needs my help, but I wanted to dive a bit deeper than what we see on the surface, as we can certainly make connections to the music on this channel, doing work with The National and The Killers, a few bands we highlight here. Phoebe, to me, is wonderful, different, and the purest, greatest female voice of her generation. Yes, you heard that correctly. The ending of Graceland Too, 326 and 332 to be precise, brought that into my mind. Guided by the melody voices of her boygenius bandmates, it's just so angelic. It reminded me of Joan Baez, the smoothest voice I've heard, a voice that owned the 60s, rising up with Dylan and the folkies that surrounded them. Phoebe's music can be described as indie anything, indie folk, indie emo, but the music is sometimes an afterthought to the lyrics she delivers so well. She could be so up front and center with lyrics, avoiding metaphors at times. Donning a skeleton dress and often giving us images of ghosts, Halloween, and quote, creepy and corny stuff, she masterfully blurs the lines of fiction and realism, which promptly, in her song titled Halloween, she sings about a murder down by the stadium. There's also lines on the surface that if you don't do the research, you may think it's darker than it really is, which I think she enjoys doing. A copycat killer with a chemical cut, either I'm careless or I want to get caught. She writes about her musical hero Elliott Smith in Punisher. But to be honest, before writing this, I didn't know the exact meaning of those lines, and it fits perfectly well into the murder genre. Her rawest song, in my opinion, is I Know the End, which, again, in my opinion, speaks about death, the ultimate end. Possibly drawing from Lady Gaga's Joanne, knowing death is coming, with Gaga singing, Honestly, I know where you're going. Phoebe with the repeating lines of I know, which I think can tie into verse 2 of Chinese Satellite. I think when you're gone, it's forever. Certainly brings up her ideology of the afterlife and religion, which I will touch on in a moment. I Know the End is at the end of her Punisher album, a perfect fit. The song tells us a full story so well. The intro sounds so nostalgic with the mellotron, her vocals coming in as soft as ever. Brings us back into that sentimental feeling of longing to be home and dreaming of a life where she has these plans, but ultimately will end up back in her room, a place like no other, a play on the Wizard of Oz famous line, and maybe a nod to Brian Wilson's In My Room. Verse 2, as explained by her, I remembered all these nights. I would cancel on my friends and be like, I'm just going to have a relaxing night in. And then by like 9 p.m., you realize you wish you'd gone out or something. Which personally I have struggled with, and I know others have too. Being an introvert in an extrovert world is something her and her peers battle with constantly. After that, the song starts to pick up, and she starts to explain and connect with the fact that she has no faith or trust in religion, which is another thing, personally, I can connect with, and links into me saying she's the voice of her generation, which I should include, I'm actually older than her by 1 year. I feel as if a lot of my peers do not connect well with the religion that was forced upon them. After the lyrics, the song picks up yet again, the drums taking over, and as we continue, it turns into almost a metal song, which Phoebe herself says. The screaming feels like an emotional release, and what she does at the very end, losing her breath and trying to regain it again before the song ends, is absolutely so raw and intense. It makes you want to scream along and then replay the song and even the whole album. There's no shock to me when I see that it's the most streamed song of the album. It brings together listeners in the sense that we know what she's talking about, but can't seem to really cope with it, other than taking a drive and screaming until our lungs give out. Phoebe intertwines her generation's thoughts and emotions into her music, and she doesn't even have to try. Okay, she definitely tries, but whichever way you look at it, she's taking us into her world, which, for better or worse, is exactly like ours in how we view it. She admits her depression and anxiety, something that this generation struggles with. Dating a musician, but ultimately breaking it off to create a better working relationship. I'm not saying we all fall into that one, but it brings up more points about her having issues in that realm, but being able to overcome it and make something good out of it. Some of us can do that, and maybe some of us will take and learn from that. I think it's something we should all strive for and at least attempt. That relationship is shown off in I See You, which she co-writes with her ex. And the lyrics of, I hate your mom, I hate it when she opens her mouth. It's amazing to me how much you can say when you don't know what you're talking about. The beginning is so open, but the back half of it is so philosophical and true. This sentiment is repeated in the lines, I used to light you up, now I can't even get you to play the drums, 'cause I don't know what I want until I fuck it up. The beginning tying into her song Scott Street, and the ending is a trick almost, something you can teach yourself and learn from. Like I said, I'm not sure how this video will end up, but I wanted to create something that can show off her being the voice of our generation, or at least a leader in that viewpoint. There are so many other songs I did not mention and other works she's been included in that would join into this thought. One of my other favorites, The Gold, in which she did not write, but you can see how well her vocals attach to those lyrics. Her many collaborations with Matt Berringer in The National, Walking on a String, and Laugh Track are ones I also enjoy. And of course, Runaway Horses by The Killers. Again, lending her voice to create an environment that you can connect with. All in all, I hope I wrote something you can draw from and make connections to as well. I know I don't speak for my generation, and I would imagine Phoebe wouldn't be boastful about being called a voice of a generation. But maybe someday, after she creates more works, she could become humbled from the crown that millions of fans give her. I also hope you don't leave this video with saying, well, yeah, duh, we know she's great, as I know she continues to be nominated and win various awards. I just hope we can all agree on how great she is, and identify with her a little bit more. I'm so eager to see what she releases next, and I hope this video does well so I can make another one about her in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and consider subscribing, as I'd love to hear your thoughts on her music and give me more ideas for topics on the next video essay.